Already did?
All right. We're ready when you are. All right. Live in 5, 4, 3.
I'd call this meeting of Village of Grand Manan to order. Tonight we have Pastor Michelle Duncan for prayer.
God, thank you for tonight, God, and thank you for each family that is represented here. God, would you be with the leaders of this island, really, just who are deciding just agendas for this evening. Lord, would you give them wisdom and direction and clarity on what needs to be discussed? In your precious name, amen.
I'd like to give a shout out to our kids that have been involved on our sports teams, both high school and Grand Manan minor hockey teams. We've had 2 provincial banners this year to raise, one in basketball and one in hockey. So I believe Grand Manan was very well represented in all the age groups. And of course, none of this would be possible without the coaches and the volunteers that have put in a lot of hours and just countless hours. And we just like to thank you for that. And just a little plug for our Easter egg hunt, Saturday at 10 o'clock up at Victoria Park. And you never know, the Easter Bunny might even make an appearance. Disclosure of conflict of interest. Hearing none, we'll move on to the adoption of the minutes.
I make a motion that we adopt the minutes. 22nd and March 20th.
You heard the motion. Do we have a seconder? Seconder by Councillor Boyd. Questions? No questions? All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Additions to the agenda. I have 2 additions. We have Dutchman Contracting Limited snow removal for the community center for $9,372.50, and Dutchman Contracting Limited snow removal for the business center $2,242.50. That'd be under the general operating fund, yes. Anything else?
It's not an addition to the agenda. I think we're personnel committee are not quite ready to do a report on 18.3 closed session. Yeah, the personnel committee hasn't completed our work on the our file on 18.3, so we'd like to put that off for a month probably.
Anything else?
Yes, I would like to remove 15.2 Arts and Culture Committee report as well, please.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to remove them? Amend the motion then. You're making that an amendment?
Well, we have
No problem.
okay, I'll make a motion to add those 2 things and remove those 2 things.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Do we have any questions? All in favor? Motion passed. Well, number 7 is our RCMP report. Constable Corporal Thomas Stewart.
evening, Deputy Mayor and councillors. Glad to be with you here. I think I missed the last couple of meetings just being away or other things going on, so glad to be here in person tonight to give the report and speak with you about a few things. Before I get into the meat of my stuff, I've got our newest member, Constable Mark Wright, with me. He's just going to introduce himself very briefly here.
Good evening, Deputy Mayor and councillors. So as I said, or as the Corporal said, my name is Mark Wright. I'm the newest member here. 8 years of service in the RCMP in Saskatchewan, and then came back east. Home is in Sussex for me. So prior to joining the RCMP, I also spent 10 years on municipal council in Sussex. So I enjoy the round table discussion, so it's fun. But eager to be back east, eager to be here in Grand Manan. I know a decent number of people here on the island just from before I joined the council, or before I joined the RCMP. So yeah, it's just good to be kind of back east and eager to hit the ground running. So
Thanks, Mark. I think that that's everybody at the detachment has been here now in the last couple months, actually. So it's nice that people can kind of see who we have here and the names and all that. So it makes it a little bit more familiar when you see us out and about. I'll go through our file counts here first for looking at March of last year. We had 51 files and reports that we dealt with. March of this year, we were up to 70. I think a lot of that was just a bit more like a higher traffic volume, tickets and warnings being issued, traffic stops, things like that. But it did seem like, especially near the end of the month, we were a little bit busier anyways. Breaking down those numbers a bit more, we had 3 abandoned vehicle calls, 1 assault investigation, 1 sexual assault investigation, 3 reports for uttering threats, 2 reports of drug trafficking, 5 break-and enters with 1 charge laid, and others are under investigation. There were 3 theft reports. 2 were deemed to be not actually a theft. 3 files were created just for information purposes. 2 were mental health responses, 4 well-being checks, 19 traffic tickets or reports, 2 Off-Road Vehicle Act files, 1 missing person report here on Grand Manan, who was then located a short while later, and 1 missing person that had been reported elsewhere, was located safe and sound here on Grand Manan. And we did have 4 suspicious vehicle or person reports, 3 of which were the same individuals. And that's kind of the breakdown of the bulk of the files we were responding to in March. I don't have much of an update here. I had them mention that the RCMP is working at getting an MOU put in place with Coastal Transportation. A letter had been sent to Coastal Transport, and we haven't had any response to date that I'm aware of. Just to follow up, I think the mayor had mentioned that she'd like to be kept aware in case she had, I think, a meeting coming up this month maybe with Coastal Transport. I do want to spend a minute to address some of the rumors that were put on social media last week. There was a lot of discussion and posts on social media about serious incidents happening on Grand Manan. Some of the information can be linked to actual police responses, but some have no factual basis at all, at least nothing that has been officially reported to the RCMP. At no time was there a threat to public safety on Grand Manan. There was 1 isolated incident at the Grand Manan Community Hospital. The staff responded excellently, calling 911 and working to de-escalate the situation while maintaining their own safety and the safety of all the patients there. The RCMP attended quickly and remained on site to ensure the safety of all parties, and the situation remained calm. A second incident was responded to that day by the RCMP related to a suspicious vehicle and a dispute between the occupants. The female had been reported missing by Woodstock Police, and the female attended the RCMP detachment and was confirmed to be in no distress and did not request any assistance. As a result of the social media posts, Mayor of Grand Manan, Bonnie Morse, had contacted myself and was updated about the situations and reassured that there was no threat to the public, there was no lockdowns of Grand Manan or anything like that. The Village of Grand Manan then posted on its Facebook page reassuring the residents that there was no ongoing emergencies. And I have since spoken to Mayor Morse again, and we'll make it a priority to brief her and CAO Rayner when we are made aware of any social media postings that appear to be spiraling out of control and causing panic or fear among residents. We'd like to get ahead of that and just say, no, this isn't going on, or try to address it in whatever fashion we can. If there are any serious police incidents where there is a threat to public safety, the RCMP will put out a media release, and the Village of Grand Manan will be notified so that they can provide information to the public. I also wanted to go over quickly tonight, I have done this in the past, but I feel like I need to do it again, just the procedure for police requests. 911 is for all emergencies, and that does include situations where you feel immediate police response is required. So a lot of people get afraid to call 911 because they don't feel like it's a life and death situation. It doesn't need to be a life and death situation. If you feel like you need police there right away, call 911. Impaired driver, you feel like the police need to pull this vehicle over right away. You don't need to call and wait on hold for a couple of minutes to talk to a call taker. Just call 911 if you think that police need to respond to something right away. If there is a non-immediate response situation that you want to report, you can call 1-888-506-7267, and you will reach our call takers and dispatchers. And this is a province-wide number, so there can be some wait time when you call. I'm going to ask, if possible, and I can give the report. I printed off a number of my reports tonight in case anybody wants a copy, but if the Village of Grand Manan could maybe post some of this information so that the residents have it, because some people will tell us that they don't know who to call when they're trying to get a hold of us. So if it can be put out there for people to maybe save on their phone or write it down on their fridge so that they actually have it and don't have to rely on trying to reach out through Facebook or some other means, then that would be excellent. There's also the number for kind of administrative requests, or you're trying to return our phone call or follow up with an officer about something that was already reported. You're trying to look into getting a criminal record check done and you're not sure what to do about it. You can call 506-662-1210. It is a local phone number, but it isn't answered here on the island. It does go to call takers who will take in calls from across the province, so there will likely be wait times when you call, but that's the process that we have. And it's not just isolated for Grand Manan. Everywhere is adopting this model. If you're in St. George and you're trying to call the detachment there, you're calling the call takers. You're not actually calling the detachment itself. You can also just stop at the detachment, and if there isn't anybody there, there is a phone to the left of the front door, and you can pick it up and you'll be connected to a call taker and they will get a hold of us for whatever the situation is. The metal box that the phone is in is gray in color, and so it kind of blends in with the detachment. There are signs pointing, but people have said they don't know that there's a phone there. I'm hoping to get that painted some bright color so it stands out a little bit more so that people know and can take advantage of that. There also is an online crime reporting ability here in New Brunswick now. I had mentioned this before. I brought some printouts of kind of a flyer for that, which explains what situations you can use this online crime reporting tool for. And the website is rcmp-grc.gc.ca/NB. Again, I'll get that to maybe be posted so that somebody can just click the link or whatnot, but I'll also give this flyer out as well. I'm going to ask that you please not contact a specific officer or their family members to try and report things. Needs to be done the proper way for tracking and to ensure that a file is generated and investigated. This also ensures that the officer who is actually working will be dispatched and you're not reporting it to an officer who might be on days off or away. Just seeing this a little bit more and more, and so this will help eliminate any delays in response as well. If you're just sending a Facebook message, might not see it right away, and then if you have to contact whoever is working, it's just going to delay it and more. So call it in the proper way and it'll get dealt with properly. A couple of things for crime prevention, because we're seeing some more break-and-enters and thefts and things like that, and people are concerned about that, as they should be. Please lock up your homes, your sheds, your vehicles. Don't leave your keys in your vehicles. Take photographs of valuable items or tools or firearms that you might have, and write down your serial numbers. This is very helpful for the police, but it can also be very helpful for insurance companies should you ever need to make a claim due to a fire or a flood or a theft. It's really important to have that kind of stuff written down somewhere where you know it is. I had mentioned this before last summer as well about the possibility of a neighborhood watch program. I didn't have any responses last time I mentioned it. I'd like to mention it again. I do think it would be a valuable thing here on Graham and Ann. I do have one person who's interested, but to make this program work, we need people across the island. So if more people would like to step up, then we can set up an information session and then look at setting up the program. So please, if any of the members of the public want to be part of that, reach out to one of your counselors, reach out to us, and we'll move forward with that. And I'm just going to give a plea again for people to report crime when you see it happening or it's happening to you, whether it be break-ins or thefts or anything else. If we don't know that it's going on, then it's hard for us to do much about it. And so we need people who are willing to stand up against people who are committing crimes here on the island. Without the cooperation of the public, it's very difficult for the RCMP to deal with some of these issues. And it's also important, even if you think that there's nothing that we can do about it, it was minor theft and there's no video cameras, and how are we going to solve it? Well, report it anyways, because at least it helps us know accurately what's going on here on Graham and Ann. When we're doing up our crime statistics, when I'm giving my reports to the council about what's going on, it's much more accurate if people are actually calling in and reporting these things. And those crime statistics are what form a lot of the basis for how many officers a certain area has, what kind of resources you get, things like that. So if our numbers are down because people aren't calling things in, I'm not going to say that we're going to lose things, but we might not get more, right? If we get more people or more resources, better chance that we're going to be better able to deal with some of these things. I know that was quite a bit compared to a lot of the reports I give, but there's been a lot that I kind of wanted to bring up and address. So happy to take any questions or concerns from any of you tonight.
Any questions from council? Philman?
You mentioned video. Local rumor is that video is of no value to you if it's not posted that there's video, you're being recorded. Is that the truth?
No. If there's a video camera, whether it's posted that there's a video camera or not, I'm going to take that video and it's going to be part of my file and my investigation. I have heard some of that before in other places, but at the end of the day, if there's cameras out there, it might be a trail camera that somebody has posted on their property to keep an eye on things. most people aren't gonna post that they have a trail camera up at their camp or something like that. So, no, that's still very valuable for us to have.
And you mentioned Facebook and some of the postings, some of the things being suggested as we're heading for another Cedar Street type of an event. And I don't think anybody wants to see that happen. And I'm speaking as an individual here, not as a counselor, because we haven't discussed this, but I would like to see every effort made to defuse some of the stuff that's going on, and the only real way to do that is if there's apprehensions and charges. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thanks for coming and speaking to us tonight. I don't really hear any urgency in your voice as to what's going on, and I would expect that you're very in tune with what is actually going on in our community. And people do not feel safe in their homes. People are like arming themselves with bats and with crowbars and with probably weapons. And I mean, I hate to see anybody get shot or assaulted, whether it's the perpetrator or the homeowner, but this is definitely going down the road towards Cedar Street. It is. People are going to take it into their own hands because they don't see the RCMP as protecting our community. And I mean, that's what I hear. I've been on the phone all day. People are seriously, and I hear all this stuff. I hear all the break-ins. I hear all the crime. I hear all that stuff. And I would expect that you do too. So I guess your job is to protect our community, and people don't feel protected.
My comment to that, and I can appreciate what you're saying, my comment to that would be, yes, I'm hearing these things, but a lot of them not in an official manner. The people who are actually, a lot of the people who are on Facebook saying that this happened didn't actually report it to us. And so I'm not going to try to enter in on all kinds of investigations based on Facebook posts and rumors on Facebook. But if somebody calls me and says this happened, or calls it in the proper way, right? A file gets generated, file is going to be investigated. We're going to be out there doing what we can to prevent any kind of event like that. Certainly we don't want to see any kind of event like what happened on Cedar Street years ago happen again. But until people are willing to come forward and tell us what's going on, tell us when they actually see a break-in happening and who did it, and that they are a witness to that, if we don't have that coming to us, then it's hard for us to do much about it. We need, when we're going to arrest somebody or charge somebody, we need either physical evidence in the form of, fingerprints or DNA left at the scene, or we need witnesses who saw it happen. Without those things, there's no proof that this person committed the crime, and I can't go and arrest them or charge them and try to deal with them the appropriate way.
So you have no words of comfort to our community as to how this is going to play out? Like, do we just have to wait until the big bang?
We're being as proactive as we can with patrols in the area, responding to the complaints that do come in and following up and investigating them as best as we can. I certainly don't feel that the citizens of Grand Manan are in imminent danger from people out there committing crimes. There are property crimes happening all over New Brunswick and all over Canada, and Grand Manan has been sheltered from that, I believe, for quite a while, and it does appear that it's happening more right now for whatever reason. And
You must know the reason why the crime is so high.
usually
obviously.
property crime goes along with drug problems in a community.
Mhm.
But again, same thing with property crimes. If we don't have people coming to us with information about the drug trade on Grand Manan or anything like that, it's hard for us to do much about it. We need people who are willing to come to us and tell us specific information, not just so-and-so is dealing drugs. that's good for us to be aware of, and some names have been told to us many times. But without specific information, we can't do a search warrant on their house or search their vehicle, things like that.
Well, I think you're being vague, and I understand your position, but, I mean, Grand Manan is up in arms, period. Something's gonna go sideways, and it's gonna happen sooner than later. And we task you guys to protect our community, and our community it doesn't feel protected. So do we go hard? Do we go to Ottawa, like public safety, the Minister of Public Safety's tasked with your force, I don't know where to go, and I don't know what, I don't have
We
know the
need
answer,
cooperation
but
from the public. It's not,
you
it
can't
cannot,
put it on the public. You
I'm
can't-
not putting it solely on the public, but it cannot also be solely put
if
on
it
the
was-
RCMP.
If it was up to the public, it would have been dealt with in not the right way.
I
But-
will say, if there are complaints about how the RCMP is dealing with things on Grand Manan, certainly bring it forward to the
That's what I'm doing.
Minister of Public Safety or whoever it is here in New Brunswick that is in charge of the RCMP here and what we do. They can look at what we're doing and if we're doing it appropriately or not, or if there's things that we're missing. But by all means, I have no problem with people making a complaint about what I did or didn't do, or my members at my detachment. I want to be as transparent as possible. Yes, I'm being vague because I can't mention specific names or investigations.
Well, I'm just bringing it forward that our community doesn't feel safe. And we don't need 2,000 people to come and tell you that, right? I represent the people of Grand Manan, and I'm very in tune with what's going on in Grand Manan, and it's gonna go sideways. And are we just gonna sit here and let it go? Is somebody gonna get hurt? Is somebody gonna get shot? Is somebody gonna get killed? We just,
Okay, just,
You can't.
911, wouldn't answer me? You can talk to them later on. Thank you, that'd be great. So it's not what you said on the phone.
Okay.
let's bring this to an end. Thank you very much for coming and talking with us, Corporal Stewart. And we'd like to say welcome to our new officer. Appreciate you coming.
So like I said, I do have copies of some of my report and the pamphlets there. If we could get some of that information posted on the site for the village, that would be excellent. Thank you.
Yep, we'll be sure to post it for you. Thank you. There is a 10-minute open session if you'd like to talk then. Moving on to old business, 9-1, council room, CAO Rayner to speak.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fitzsimmons. This is something we've been talking about for a bit. One of the things that council has always wanted to do is to make sure that information gets out to the public and these council meetings get televised. We've struggled with that for a while. I feel that we may be in a position now that we're doing better than we have been. We've got some new equipment out there, but part of this process was we had reached out to a few organizations, and one that came back to us from Fredericton was Streamlight Productions. They have what I would call a Cadillac of a solution for our problem. This their concept involves camera systems that would do our regular council meeting as well as hybrid meetings, which the hybrid meetings, as you all know, we're doing an awful lot of committee meetings, Zoom, Teams, kind of virtually. So this is kind of a 2-for-1 deal. But where this was new, and it seems like our system is working a little bit better, I don't know if this is something that should go to Finance and Properties first before we discuss it as council as a whole. But basically, Bill, Edgar, and myself have been dealing with them. We've had a demonstration from Streamlight. It was very, very impressive. I know they have also been talking with St. Stephen, St. Andrews, and Eastern Charlotte as well. We're all having the same issues. I believe St. Stephen went with their concept. I believe they're up and running in their first council meeting. I believe this month was going to be using the new system. So there's a lot of equipment needed. The original price that came in was upwards of $30,000, which kind of shocked us. I've heard from some people that they didn't think it was that bad considering, but to me it seemed like a lot of money. So Bill and I, working with them, we've gone back to say that a lot of equipment that they were proposing we already have. Like, for example, these microphones. We just spent $4,000 or $5,000 upgrading our mics not too long ago. We've got new broadcasting Blackmagic system out in the control room, which is something that we needed. We got a PTZ camera there that was used as well. They had suggested 5 cameras. We've got them down to 4, because basically how it works is there would be surface-mounted cameras on either side of the room. Each one would be preset to one side, and as well as individual counselors. So let's say, for example, Councillor Green was speaking. In the control room, it would be preset number 9. It would go over to Councillor Green. It would have the headshot. Underneath, it would have the village logo, and it would say Councillor Philman Green, and they would speak. Also, at the far end of the room, there's one wide view camera, so in the event that the council's having a discussion, like earlier, that would automatically go to that camera, and then it would show everyone all together. So working with them, having some of the equipment that we have, downgrading some of the stuff that we didn't feel was necessary, we got that price from $30,000 down to about $16,400. So anyway, I'm not sure tonight whether or not we want to discuss this further or if it should go back to Finance and Property for a little bit more discussion before we decide which way we want to go. Also, we were also looking at, because I know Councillor Toll, who's out here tonight, so we'll pick on her, was saying about for vertically challenged people, how these tables are really, really high. So we were working on some type of modular solution that had the smaller tables that were you could break them down, you could move them around. These tables aren't very well movable. With these new ones from Office Solutions, I believe, in St. John, it gave us a bit of a solution to be able to bring the tables closer together for more of those hybrid meetings. We just got something at the last minute from them. There was no price attached to their email, so that may be something that for a little bit further discussion.
Any questions? Mr. Boyd?
I think it certainly warrants discussion, but maybe at a later date once we get, I know we talked about it briefly at Finance and Property last time, once we get, I know we've discussed, the mayor's quite eager to do some remodeling in this council chamber, so maybe it's a conversation at Finance and Property to kind of come up with a few ideas and then present that all to council for approval from there.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll send that off to the committee and let them have a look at it. 9.2 is Charlotte County Dolroyd. Mayor Morse was to discuss this, and she's not here tonight. Council like to table it or for next month, or?
So Charlotte County Dolroyd had put a request in that's in your package for a donation of $2,000. Speaking with the treasurer today, that wasn't something that was a budgeted item. They didn't make any special request at budget time. So basically we're kind of capped to the $200 maximum that we can give. So, unless people were looking for more information, the mayor suggested we could either table it or deal with it with what little bit of information that we have here tonight.
Yeah, I think some of the discussion we had, there are some users of that service here on the island. I will move that we donate $200, and along with the check, we send them information on applying for more at budget time, information to do that.
You heard the motion. Do you have a seconder?
I second that.
Councilor Greenlaw. Questions? All in favor?
I
Contrary minded? Motion passed. Number 10 is the 10-minute open session. We'll remind everyone it's a 10-minute open session. There's no question, there's no answering question type deal.
My name is Stanley Fleet, and here right now, I'm here for a good reason tonight, the next item on the agenda. But last night I had an experience with 911 that I would never believe ever happened. And I've had 20 years with enforcement on Grand Manan in fisheries and a full career in the Coast Guard. And I called 911 at my camp. And what is the reason that you're calling? What is your emergency? My camp, I've been broke into, and are they there? Is there anybody there? No. Is there anybody hurt? No. Do not call this number ever again unless you come on the scene and the burglary is in progress. You are wasting this time on this call. And anyway, I got a lecture on not calling 911. I couldn't believe it. I'm telling the truth. And she said, we'll put you through to the RCMP. I said, great, thank you very much. And that didn't go well because I never got through. And 11 o'clock, after I secured my camp, I went home. And you guys are out of touch with the community and what's going on. I'm here to tell you that tonight. So you gotta somehow get a grip on what's going on and the amount of break-ins. And if you can't report the break-in, like I did everything that I could to get a hold of you, and I never got a call answered. The number that they put on the phone, and a local guy that had also been broken in texted me a number, a 662 number. I dialed that. It was very similar to the other one, the English, the French, and then a voice would say, stay on the line, an RCMP officer is going to answer. But after a while, it didn't. But I called again because I had that number, and I never got an answer. And so as a resident on Grand Manan, right now, I can't get a hold of you. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to speak, but I'm going to.
What's time you got?
I'm just wondering, I don't know much about it, is there any way that you can get reinforcement through the Minister of Justice to come down on a 24-hour shift? I mean, they could work the night, these guys are working the day. I don't know. I don't know nothing about it. But I don't want to see another Cedar Street, but I mean, that's what you hear out there. There's a lot of, it's all related to drugs. There's break-ins. They're breaking in, taking the stuff down the drug dealer. I had a friend that had to buy a motor back for $400 from the drug dealer. It's pathetic, really. But that's all I like to see is more enforcement. Not enforcement to come down, have a road stop, taking you for registration, no insurance. I'm talking come down specifically drug-related and the crime that's going on. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to number 11. Our special speaker, Mr. Fleet from the Legion.
Off my guard. Anyway, tonight, on behalf of the Legion, I stand here maybe before the review is going on a little bit. It's all a known fact of what you guys have done for the Legion on Grand Manan. And in January, I received a call from New Brunswick Command saying they was nominating the past council and this council and staff, we'll get to that later, and the Friendship Award. And I'm going to explain what that's about. But my comment was to Jack Clayton in New Brunswick Command, the executive director, was, I'm sorry, Jack, that slipped through our fingers. No. He said, you know, so there's 3 ways to get an award. At the branch can pass it, move it through a meeting. So New Brunswick Command they can also make a nomination through our branch for an award. And Dominion Canada can do the same thing. So there's 3 ways. So instead of us, New Brunswick Command nominated for an award, for Friendship Award, for what, as an outside identity, helping the Legion here on Grand Manan. So with that little bit of information, we passed that motion through council, and it was placed on myself. A citation had to go with that as to what you people did, and be passed in St. John, and then go with it to Ottawa. So this has already been to Ottawa. So the Friendship Citation to the Village of Grand Manan in February of 2023. Over the years, the Village of Grand Manan and the Grand Manan Royal Canadian Legion branch number 44 have had an amicable relationship. And this relationship blossomed during the spring and the summer of 2016 when the Grand Manan Legion partnered with the village to start the Banner Project. It was a joint venture honoring Grand Manan veterans who had served in the past wars and conflicts. And the Legion concentrated on the banners, and the village supported the Legion financially so that the banners could fly from the telephone light poles along the main road of the village. And it was at this time that the Legion was offered the use of the community meeting room to conduct its meetings during the winter months, to relieve the branch of the cost of heating and maintaining the old Legion building. By 2019, the Legion building was continuing to show its age, as were its members, who were having difficulty making meetings on the 2nd floor, and not to mention the potential hazard of the stairs that they provided. Even though the building was being maintained, the costs were escalating. And coincidentally, that summer, the village offered its facilities to the home of the Grand Manan Legion. And with consultation and encouragement of New Brunswick Command in St. John, and discussion with the membership and with the village, branch number 44 accepted the village's generous and gracious offer for a new home, a place to store banners and other Legion property. The advantages to the Legion were numerous. Reduction of expenses, the use of the storage facility without charge. And to the membership, the advantages were the safety of being on the ground floor and plenty of safe parking, seating, heat, good lighting, and a clearly noticeable sign proclaiming that the Grand Manan Centre was the home of the Grand Manan Royal Canadian Legion, surrounding the entrance to the village office. They asked me to sum up what it meant to the Legion. And I said the village threw us a life ring and hauled us to safety. So the village of Grand Manan, I wrote it a little different. The village of Grand Manan had thrown out a lifeline to the Legion and rescued the Legion, enabling the Legion to continue and be visible in the community. New Brunswick Command was ecstatic with the results. And now, having moved to its new home, the Legion put the former Legion building up for sale in the spring of 2022 and removed the Reeves Poppy campaign material, banners, wheelchairs, documents, artifacts, pictures, memorabilia that will be placed in the village storage facility. And the building was sold, and the new owners are restoring the property, which is great. So the Friendship Award is this: to honor individuals and organizations who have unselfishly given assistance, service, or cooperation to the Legion beyond what normally would be anticipated or expected. The village municipality's consideration for the Legion's future on Grand Manan was first and foremost. And the Friendship Award from New Brunswick Command is presented excuse me, the Friendship Award from New Brunswick Provincial Command is presented to the and a reminder of the unselfish act, as neighbors would support each other. And recently, the Graham and Ann Legion has installed a display cabinet in the village lobby, and in the near future, Legion memorabilia and artifacts from Graham and Ann veterans will be put on display, indicating the final phase of our transition into our new home. Thank you. Couple of comments on that before I make the presentation. As you know, last year, I myself got an award, the Meritorious Award at the branch level, the highest level for all this transition and stuff that was going on. And really, our charter was in danger in 2016. And so today, here we are, and I think that this award, I'm so pleased that we didn't do it, that I'm saying that it probably would have happened in the future as we put some thought into it. But coming from the Brunswick Command and going now to the Ottawa level, and something as a comment that may mean something to you is that recently in St. Andrews, the Legion there was condemned. I don't know if you know that or not, but anyway, if you're on the main street and you're going past the old fisheries building and the post office, and you get to where the store used to be, right there was where the Legion was. And anyway, the building got condemned and they tore it down. There is no Legion in St. Andrews now. And in one of the meetings, I stood up and gave a report about what the municipality was doing for the Graham and Ann Legion. And when the St. Andrews guy got up at district and gave his report, he went on to say that there was nowhere for them to go. They offered them at that time a room in the arena, but as time went on, the room had to be used. So they were meeting around in people's houses. And so our hope is that this gets printed, and like I say, it's already gone to the Ottawa level, and every suffering Legion, there's a municipality in it. And maybe the light will come on and help another struggling Legion. But you guys set a precedent, and I don't know of any other. So tonight, it's with great pleasure that I have this plaque, the Royal Canadian Legion Friendship Award, Graham and Ann Village Council by Graham and Ann, New Brunswick, Branch 44. The Royal Canadian Legion Friendship Award has been established by Dominion Command of the Royal Canadian Legion to recognize individuals or organizations who show their support of the activities and the work in the community of Legion branches, zones, districts, and provincial commands. It was printed on the 8th of February, and Bruce Julian is the Dominion president, and that citation is in Ottawa. So I'll present it to the deputy mayor, and he can pass it around. Well deserved.
We are honored to have you guys here, and I'd encourage everyone to come down and have a look at the beautiful display case and the pictures and everything that's hanging on the wall out here.
That's a we had that upstairs in the Legion because of bingo. We didn't want people handling it. So to my knowledge, that's the first time that that's ever been in public view, and it's kind of neat. It's neat for us, and you know, just the way things evolved, it became it's good that we're here. It's good that the owners are fixing the building. It's good that the display cabinet is there, and we just move on. Thank you so much, and well deserved, and I'm so glad that our branch wasn't behind that it came from New Brunswick Command. It means so much more.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to item 12. We have some written submissions to be read by CAO Rayner.
I gotta apologize, I gotta move on too, because I got something else going on tonight. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fitzsimmons. There is a letter in everyone's package from an unnamed member of our fitness center. They wrote, I'm writing regarding the Graham and Ann Fitness Center. I've been a member of the fitness center since it was in the old building. I was part of the plans when the new facility was built. As we all know, when large projects are being built, there's always extra costs and cutbacks. We ended up with a smaller room for the gymnasium. At the time, maybe it was sufficient. Over the past years, fitness and health has become an important factor in many people's lives here on Graham and Ann. I am disappointed in the council that the fitness center has not been a priority. I am pleased that there's been some new equipment in the last year. That is a positive. But there is not enough space for the amount of members it has. It is frustrating to go work out, have to go in the hallway to do mat work, as there is no space, or if you wanted to lift weights, there's no benches or spaces. We need a room large enough to facilitate a cardio space with the machines, a weightlifting room with the space to lift weights and have the machines, and a quiet space to do mat work. Either 3 different rooms or one big area that is enough room to separate with the growing interest in personal wellness of all ages on Graham and Ann. I believe this is something that needs immediate attention. The healthier we are, the less strain we put on the health system, and I believe it also helps with our mental health. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter. We also had a second letter come in late this afternoon that's not in your package. I apologize, but I will read it. To the Village Council, I am writing to you today to request that to consider enlarging the fitness room located at the Graham and Ann Community Center. I am a present-day member and have used the fitness room full-time for over a year, and over the past 10 years, attended numerous fitness programs that were offered at the community center. I was part of the original committee that helped with the design and planning of the present-day fitness room. At that time, the membership and interest were low, so the room was designed to accommodate the demographic at the time. Over the past 15 years, I'm happy to say that the interest in fitness has changed for the better, including both teenagers and millennials who are using the fitness center on a regular basis. There are also many baby boomers who frequent the facility to maintain their physical and mental health. With the increased interest, there are times when the facility is crowded and the equipment is not always accessible to the clientele. I feel with more room, there would be more focus on individual needs and room for fitness trainers, seniors, and women to work out to their preference. The fitness center is an investment in our physical and mental health and therefore should be our priority. I hope that the village takes this request into consideration. Respectfully submitted.
Thank you, CEO Rayner. Any comments, questions? Councilor Layton?
I'd like to suggest an exercise. Esme gave me a tour of the fitness center just recently. I don't participate. Every time I walk by, I stick my window in, but I look like an idiot looking in there. Everybody working out, right? So I've never been in it, so I went in. But I'd like for all of us just to go down the end of the room and stand in there and look at the space, because there is no space, and they have valid concerns. I think we should move along, and we should turn it over to the Properties and Committee and fix it. We have like 240 members. That's huge. And that space they've grown out of it, and we need to do better.
Any other suggestions, comments?
I think just to add to what Councillor Layton said, I think, Esme and I were talking today, I think that membership went from 240 to like 270 since you spoke.
Yep.
And speaking with the clerk, don't quote me on this, but I think in our budget, we budgeted for a revenue of around $10,000, and we're already at that point, and we're only 3 months in. So she's figuring on we could reach the 20,000 mark. Now, to defend one of the letters, I must say since Esme's been here as the clerk, that fitness center has received more attention than it ever has. So we have invested a fair bit of money into new equipment, some upgrades, trying to reorganize the room, a facelift, fresh paint, stuff like that. Just trying to utilize the space that we've got. So it's not perfect, but we're doing the best we can with what we have to work with.
Anyone else? Councilor Green?
We've discussed this several times, or a couple times at least, and there was interest to do something. There was some talk of reallocating a room for exercise equipment. I would suggest we have the recreation group look at what we can do to facilitate expanding our facility in the short term.
That's the council's wish. We could do that. Councilor Boyd?
Yeah, no, I certainly think it's, I mean, it's a tiny spot. I mean, I work out at home, but it is a tiny spot for those that do use it. We have had the conversations, Councillor Green has said, a little bit on the finance and property side. And with the increased revenue we're getting in, I mean, it's not so much that we can just build a piece on. Like, we're not to that level. It would be great to get to that level. So I certainly think it's worth taking a good hard look at either changing something around in this building or possibly expanding somewhere else. So I definitely think, and I get the sense from most of council here that you'd have support in the room for that.
Anyone else? So we'll send that off to the rec committee. Deal with, and we'll come back with a report, maybe talk to the finance property people also, so get everyone involved. New business. City of St. John Boardwalk Lighthouse. CAO Rayner to discuss this.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fitzsimmons. So I passed out a picture to everyone before the meeting started. I don't think anyone here that's ever been to Market Square or the boardwalk that doesn't recognize the lighthouse in that picture. There's major renovations taking place at the old Coast Guard building, and apparently the lighthouse is in the way and has to go. So the city reached out to myself and wanted to know if Graham and Ann wanted the lighthouse. They thought it'd be a perfect spot. I was hoping that the treasurer would be here tonight. She looked into it a lot more than I have over the last little bit. She was looking at trying to find some ideas on what it would cost to have that thing moved. They did offer it for free. We just have to come and get it. So anyway, we've been tossing this back and forth, and when I first seen that, we were thinking, what a great thing to put out here somewhere in the parking lot and run our VIC out of it. But if it's going to cost us a fortune to get it here, is it worth it? But anyway, the offer's there. I thought I'd throw that out there and see what the appetite in the room is, if any.
Comments or suggestions?
How big is it? Like
It's
I
big.
can see it there, but I don't know how big it is. Like, can you put it on the back of a tractor trailer?
Exactly.
I believe the base of it that you can see there is 12 by 12. So it will fit. You have to get an over-width permit, but it will fit on the truck and fit on the ferry.
What's one more? It'd be a great VIC. It would be awesome. Yeah. If you can fit more than 3 people in it, I don't know how big it is, but good idea, maybe.
Food truck.
Sorry, Councillor Green, Brown wants to talk.
Just one more lighthouse we have to fix.
This is true.
I did ask, and I actually had someone go look at it, and they said it's in really good shape. But they were worried about what it would take to lift it. Apparently, it's got lifting hooks on the top, like because you have to have a crane or boom truck go in there to pick it up to set it on the flatbed. But as you can see from the bottom left-hand corner, That's a fire hydrant type hookup, like for water. So you can imagine what that's connected to. And the light in the top is lit, so it's wired as well. So it's not just a matter of coming in. It would take a little bit. But the individual that I sent looked at it. He reached out to a crane operator and one of the local trucking companies about what it would cost. And they gave us a ballpark of about $5,000 to get it lifted, get it on the truck, to get it to Grand Manan, get it set back up again.
Well, I know Northern's coming over and doing our airport, and they're going to be bringing some seriously heavy equipment, so maybe we can work a deal with them and get it delivered for nothing, or a little goodwill to the community when they're building our new airport. You're pretty tight with Northern.
A suggestion that we didn't pursue is someone suggested that one of the easiest and probably most economic ways to get that would be to pull in there on high water with a barge, if there was a local aquaculture company that might have that type of equipment that could pull in there, lift that right aboard, and sail it over.
There's our man right across the road right there.
Well, maybe we could direct the CAO to look into this further and maybe get some numbers in that for us, and we could possibly find a way to get it here. Okay. Do we need a motion?
I'd make a motion to direct staff to have a conversation with the City of St. John and those parties that may need to be involved on bringing that lighthouse to Grand Manan.
You heard the motion. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Layden, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion passed. $14.2 is Grand Manan Fire Department. Councillor Brown to address.
Yes, this is another gym-related item. I got a letter delivered to me at my shop, and it was by the Grand Manan Volunteer Firefighters about the gym. It reads, until recently, volunteer firefighters were given a free membership to the gym as a token of their contribution to the safety of everyone on the island, minus the $20 deposit for access fob. It seems the Grand Manan Community Center gym recently changed its fee schedule. The new fee schedule gives all emergency personnel a small discount. I can see why you want to give emergency personnel a membership discount, but I don't think volunteer firefighters should be lumped with full salary RCMP officers and EMTs. I hope you will reconsider this and return the free membership status to the volunteer firefighters. Signed by 11 members of the Grand Manan Fire Department.
Any comments, suggestions?
I would like to make a motion that we return the free membership to the members of the volunteer fire department.
You heard the motion. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Councillor Brown. Questions?
Can we broaden that to include RCMP and the EMTs as well, if we're going to go with all emergency service?
I'm just wondering where they're volunteers and they don't have a salary, so to speak, that maybe that's why they're looking for a free membership? I'm not.
I agree with Councillor Brown that that's probably why, but I don't see that, I guess, as a reason not to include the other emergency services I mean, if we're gonna go with just them, I'm happy with that, but I certainly don't see any reason not to extend it to the others.
Yeah, I know, and I understand that they're all volunteers, and that's fine, but I think they all have day jobs as well. So, as far as it being a money thing, I think if we're going to offer it to one branch of the emergency service, then we offer it to all branches of the emergency service.
Councillor Green?
Can we have some background on why it was the fee structure was changed or how it was changed? Is there anything like that around?
Started, one member came in and he asked about getting a membership. He was on the fire department for free, and he said that it was always a thing that they did. So I did that, and then asked Alyssa about it later to make sure I did the right thing. She said she wasn't sure where that came from. So she wasn't sure, like there had never been a motion to extend the free services and whatnot. So it was just kind of something that was said from one fire ban to another one to another one. And we just had nothing set in stone. So then we just started going by the emergency service rate that we had for all other emergency services.
Any other questions? Would you like to amend your motion?
I'll amend my motion to include free memberships for all emergency service personnel.
We have a seconder for that.
I'll second it.
Councillor Brown. Any other questions?
I just want to comment that under emergency services, we also do nursing home staff, hospital staff, pilots. So just include one big net. Sorry.
Well, I think we should clarify our definition of an emergency
Absolutely.
personnel. To me, when I was thinking that, I was thinking police, EMTs, and fire department. Those are the emergency people, really.
Can I run with the third? I would move that we include all emergency personnel, being our fire department, our police officers, and our EMTs, and keep the discount in place for the other ones mentioned, such as nursing services, nursing home staff, etc.
You're still good with that for seconding it?
I'm so good with that.
Very good. I hate to say this, but any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is passed. 14.3, trash barrels, CAO Rayner.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fitzsimmons. Just a real quick one. It's that time of year again that we need to put out the tender for the trash barrels. Last year, during the season, we did make a couple changes. We added a couple. We had some people phone in and say, you know, it would be nice if we had a trash receptacle down at the end of this road. There's a lot of people walking on this road. So we had a couple spare ones, so we did. I just wanted to mention that we're getting ready to put it out, just in case there was anyone that wanted anything for us to take into consideration before we do that, or we're just gonna go status quo with the same as we had with last year. But we only have so many receptacles, so there's really only so many places we can put them, but.
Questions or comments? Councillor Boyd?
Did you end up putting one down by the ferry in Whitehead, the Ingleside Wharf side?
They did.
Anyone else? No?
So we'll put that tender out, we'll let it go for 30 days, and then we'll do it in time to have it ready for the May meeting to award that tender.
Thank you. 15, committee reports. Cemetery committee report, that would be me. So we are looking to form a committee to care for the cemeteries here on Grand Manan, and we are in need of some volunteers. For years, the cemeteries have been cared for by different groups for each cemetery. But as time has passed by, the groups have aged and are in need of help. Our main idea is to bring the three remaining active cemeteries in under one committee, and then reach out to the other cemeteries to see what can be done to preserve and to do the maintenance. But we do need help. So I'd like to let everyone know that there's a special meeting, or a meeting planned for April 11th here at the community center, 7 o'clock, I believe. 7. If you're interested and would like to be involved, we'd really appreciate you coming. We'll move on to 16, bylaw number 58-23. Councillor Greenlaw to.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This is the third reading of bylaw number 58-23, a bylaw to amend bylaw 40-04, a bylaw for the municipality of Grand Manan respecting the procedure and organization of the village of Grand Manan.
We have a motion? Gonna make a motion for that? Oh, we need a motion to accept it first.
I believe so, don't
Yes.
Sorry, I make a motion that we accept and adopt bylaw number 58-23.
You heard the motion. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Boyd. Questions? All in favor? Contrary minded? Hearing none. 16.2, bylaw number 59-23. Councillor Greenlaw again.
All right, this is the third reading of bylaw number 59-23, bylaw to amend bylaw 57-22, a bylaw of the village of Grand Manan respecting the composition of the council and the remuneration of the mayor and the councillors. I make a motion to adopt and enact that.
You heard the motion. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Boyd. Questions? All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is passed. We have some invoices to pay of the general operating fund. Silk Stevens, transfer station tender, $15,104.29. Dutchman Construction Limited, Contracting Limited. Community Center snow removal, $9,372.50. And Dutchman Snow Removal, North Head Business Center, $2,242.50. You heard the motion. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Brown. Any questions? Oh. Excuse me. Going way back there. Any questions? All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is passed.
I would move we go to closed session for two issues, financial, the library expansion, and financial of the Swallowtail Lighthouse repairs.
You heard the motion, seconded by Council Boyd. call this meeting back to order. We was in closed session to discuss two items. First item was the financial for the library. And we're going to direct staff to organize a meeting with the library board. And our second item was to deal with financial for the Swallowtail Lighthouse. Councillor Green.
Yeah, this is the Swallowtail Lighthouse Restoration Project. I move that we donate at this time $10,000 to their upgrade or repairs.
You heard the motion. Do we have a seconder? Second it. Councillor Turner.
He's gun shy now.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is passed.
And just for those that are listening, that's a fairly big project that they're undertaking out there. Fundraising has been not quite what they were hoping for as of yet, but there's a telethon coming up on the 16th, and hopefully that'll top it up. In the meantime, the village will be exploring other options for funding for that project.
Very good. And our next meeting, for the next council meeting, at Grand Manan Community Center, May 1st, 2023, 7:30. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you very much.